class in a town of Chippewa size, cheap amusements, cheap girls, cheap talk. This last, unless the topic chanced to be of games or of things mechanical. Baseball or a sweet running engine brought out the best that was in them. At their worst, perhaps, they stood well back in the dim, cool shade of the garage doorway to watch how, when the girls went by in their thin summer dresses, the strong sunlight made a transparency of their skirts. At supper time, they would growl to their surprised sisters, "Put on some petticoats, you. Way you girls run around, it's enough to make a person sick." Chug Scarrett escaped being one of these by a double margin. There was his business responsibility on one side, his very early history on the other. Once you learn the derivation of Chug's nickname, you have that history from the age of 5 to 25 inclusive. Chug had been christened Floyd. She had got it out of a book, but it was an appendix rather than an appellation. No one ever dreamed of addressing him by that misnomer, unless you except his schoolteachers. Once or twice the boys had tried to use his name as a weapon, shrieking in a shrill falsetto and making 2 syllables of it. He put a stop to that soon enough with his fists and feet. His virility could have triumphed over a name twice as puerile. For that matter, I once knew a young husky named Fayette but that's another story. The Scarretts lived the other side of the tracks. If you know Chippewa, or its equivalent, you get the significance of that. Nobodies. Not only did they live the other side of the tracks, they lived so close to them that the rush and rumble of the passing trains shook the 2-story frame cottage and rattled the crockery on the pantry shelves. The first intelligible sound the boy made was a chesty chug chug chug, in imitation of a panting engine tugging its freight load up the incline toward the junction. When Chug ran away, which was on an average of twice daily, he was invariably to be found at the switchman's shanty or roaming about the freight yards. It got so that Stumpy Gans, the one-legged switchman, would hoist a signal to let Mrs. Scarrett know that Chug was safe. He took his first mechanical toy apart, piece by piece. "Wait till your pa comes home," his mother had said with terrible significance. Chug, deep in the toy's wreckage, seemed undismayed. So Mrs. Scarrett gave him a light promissory slap and went on about her housework. That night before supper, Len Scarrett addressed his son with a sternness quite at variance with his easy-going nature. "Come here to me. Now then, what's this about your smashing up good toys, huh? What do you mean? Christmas not 2 days back, and here you go smashing—" The culprit trotted over to a corner and returned with the red-painted tin thing in his hand. It was as good as new. There may even have been some barely noticeable improvement in its locomotive powers. Chug had merely taken it apart in order to put it together again, and he had been too absorbed to pause long enough to tell his mother so. After that, nothing that bore wheels, internally or externally, was safe from his investigating fingers. It was his first velocipede that really gave him his name. As he rode up and down, his short legs working like piston rods gone mad, pedestrians would scatter in terror. His onrush was as relentless as that of an engine on a track, and his horse, chug chug dring dring, as he bore down upon a passerby, caused that one to sidestep precipitously into the gutter, and none too soon. Chug earned his first real bicycle, carrying a paper route for the Chippewa Eagle. It took him 2 years. By the time he had acquired it, he knew so much about bicycles, from ball bearings to handlebars, that its possession roused very little thrill in him. It was as when a lover has had to wait overlong for his bride. As Chug whizzed about Chippewa streets, ringing an unnecessarily insistent bell, you sensed that a motorcycle was already looming large in his mechanism-loving mind. By the time he was 17, Chug's motorcycle was spitting its way venomously down Elm Street, and the sequence of the seasons was not more inevitable than that an automobile should follow the motorcycle. True, he practically built it himself, out of what appeared to be an old washer boiler, some wire, and an engine made up of parts that embraced every known